Everybody thinks buying new construction is the safer play. I'm gonna push back on that just a little bit today. In my experience, a well-built existing home often beats a new build, but only if you know what to look for. Here are 5 things I check on every existing home that I walk with my clients. If you miss any of them, you're probably gonna be writing a check after you close. I'm Kenneth Holland, I'm your local Dallas-Fort Worth residential friendly realtor. And if you're looking for a home in the East Dallas-Fort Worth area with more land and less houses around, I can help you with that. Please call me. Before real estate, I spent over 20 years owning and running a construction company. That background changes exactly how I walk properties. I'm not looking at paint colors all the time. I'm not looking at staging all the time. I'm looking at what the house is actually doing, how it's sitting on the land, how water moves around it, how it's aged, and where the stress shows up. Today, I'm giving you 5 things I check on every existing home. If property passes these 5, it's usually in good shape. If it fails 2 or more, we're having a serious conversation about whether to move forward. Let's get into it. Okay, drainage is number 1 on my list because it can be the single most expensive problem to fix on a home. And here's the good news about an existing home. The land has been telling you the story for years. You just have to know how to read it. Okay, so right now on drainage, I'm gonna talk you through my lens. When I walk an existing home, I'm looking at the ground. The first thing I'm checking is for recently turned dirt. For example, and this one recently happened to me while looking at a home on acreage with clients. It looked like someone had created a berm to redirect the water that was coming from the land that was to the side of this property. It was redirected to flow down to the creek, which was a very good thing. That is actually how it's supposed to work. But the problem was that this dirt berm was a temporary fix. It was not even compacted, and it was loose dirt, and it would have washed away in a good downpour. And the water would have flown right back into the spot that they were trying to divert it from. So keep your eyes open for this type of diverting water. Now, I'm also checking for erosion channels where water has carved a path through the yard. I'm looking at the mulch bed. If mulch is washed out in certain spots, water is flowing hard through those during storms. I'm looking at the foundation itself for water stains or discoloration along the bottom few inches. I'm checking the downspouts. Where do they actually discharge? Is there a sunken, soggy spot right where they empty out? I'm also checking for low spots in the yard. Are there any bare spots where grass doesn't grow? Not because of shade, but because of standing water. Here's what most buyers don't realize. With new construction, you have no idea how the water is going to behave on that lot until you've lived through the rainy seasons. On an existing home, that's been 15 years. The ground has already told you. And here's why this matters financially. If drainage is wrong on a property you just bought, you're not always looking at a cheap fix. In the DFW area right now, a French drain around one side of a house runs $2,000 or $3,000. Do 2 or 3 sides, you're at $6,000 or $7,000. You might need to regrade the yard on top of that. Add at least another couple $1,000s. I've seen drainage remediation projects run in the thousands of dollars. That's a real number. That's what you're avoiding by reading the land before you buy. Drainage is something you can see on the outside. Number 2 is the one you can't see, and it's the reason you want to pay close attention to the foundation and any wood that touches the ground. Okay, number 2 is termites, and I'll be honest with you, in North Texas, termites are common. That doesn't make a home a bad buy. What makes a bad buy is not knowing they're there until after you close. When walking an existing home, check a few specific places. Look at the foundation for mud tubes. These are little pencil width trails of dry mud running up from the ground along the slab. That's active termite activity. Tap wood around door frames, window sills, and baseboards. Healthy wood sounds solid. Wood that's been hollowed out sounds different, lighter, almost papery. Check trim for tiny pinholes and look for basically a sawdust material that tells you something is eating the wood. The highest risk zones are any place where wood touches the soil. The back of the house near a wood fence, the garage where framing meets the slab, any wooden deck or patio cover, that's where I focus. Here's the math. A preventative liquid barrier on a typical DFW home runs about $1,300 to $3,500. That's not a huge number in the sense of a home purchase. But if termites have been eating the structural wood for a few years before you bought the place, now you're looking at the treatment plus $3,000 to $10,000 of structural repair or more. That's why you always get the termite inspection. But I want to know before I write the offer whether we're walking into a problem. That's what's happening on the outside of the walls. Now let's talk about what's happening under your feet. Number 3 is one most buyers never think about: floor coverings. Specifically, why is a particular floor covering where it is, or why is the floor raised and the other floor next to it is not raised? Here's what I mean. You can walk into a home that's clearly 20 years old, original everything, original cabinets, original fixtures, original paint scheme, and then you walk into one bedroom and there's brand new laminate on the floor, or a brand new area rug covering most of the room in a spot where it doesn't quite make design sense. Or the floor is raised in one room and not the rest of the house. And we aren't talking about the house having any sunken rooms. That's a signal. I'm not saying it's always a problem. Sometimes people just replace the floor, but sometimes that fresh flooring is covering water damage from a roof leak, a slab crack, a subfloor issue, or damage the seller didn't want to disclose on the showing. I've pulled back rugs in rooms and found staining underneath. I've lifted corners of new laminate and found the original floor was never actually repaired, just covered. Follow this rule. If one room has fresh flooring and the rest of the house doesn't, you need to know why. Ask your agent to ask the listing agent directly. A straight, specific answer is usually fine. There was a pipe leak. We replaced the floor. Here's the repair receipt. A vague answer, oh, I think the previous owner just wanted to update it. That's when you tell your inspector, pay extra attention in this room. Okay, speaking of the slab, number 4 is a place buyers almost never look, and it's where the house will tell you the truth about its foundation. Number 4 is the garage floor. This is where I earn my fee, because most people do not check this, even though it's one of the most honest parts of the house. Here's why the garage floor matters. In the living area of the house, you've got floor covering the slab, tile, carpet, wood, laminate. You can't see what the concrete is doing underneath. But in the garage, most of the time, the slab is right there, uncovered. It's telling you the truth. Now, let's talk about this. All concrete cracks, I don't care what anyone tells you. Hairline cracks in the garage floor are normal. Every slab in North Texas has some. Our clay soil expands and contracts with moisture. Concrete cures, it shifts, it settles. I'm not worried about those little spider web or stress cracks in any way. What you want to be looking for is different. It's a crack that's wider than 1/4 of an inch in thickness. Is there a straight line crack that runs across the garage from one side to the other? That can indicate a slab movement. Check for vertical displacement, which is when one side of the crack is higher than the other. You can actually feel it with your hand, run your palm across the crack. If one side is higher, that slab has moved, and it's worth getting a foundation engineer or a foundation company out there to assess it and see if there is a problem. And here's a big one. Look for cracks that have been patched, filled with epoxy or concrete, and then re-cracked again through that patch. That tells you someone already tried to fix this and the problem came back. The stakes here are real. A structural engineer report in DFW runs about $500, $800 to $1,200, and it's the best money you'll spend if the slab is questionable. Because if it turns out that this house actually needs piers, you're looking at the average DFW foundation repair running from $5,000 to $7,000 for moderate work, and I've seen jobs on bigger homes with aggressive clay soil run $20,000 to $30,000. You want to know that before you close, not after. The slab tells you the story. The outside of the house tells you another. And the mortar is where you can finish your walkthrough. Okay, number 5. Cracks in the mortar. The brick veneer on your house is attached to the framing, and when the house moves, the mortar cracks before the brick does. Mortar is soft, brick is hard. So the mortar is where the house shows its age and its stress. So here's what you want to do. Walk the entire exterior. Look at every corner of the house, above every door, above every window, and along the foundation line. Fixing mortar by itself is cheap. Tuck pointing, a few cracks, is $500 to a couple $1,000. But mortar cracks aren't really the expense. Mortar cracks can be a warning. If you're finding this useful, I work with buyers all over East DFW who want homes out here, and I walk every property this way. If you want that kind of eye on your next purchase, my number's on the screen, give me a call. I want to close with something I think gets overlooked. Most buyers assume new construction is automatically the safer play. New warranty, new systems, nothing to worry about. Here's my pushback on that. A new build on a new lot has no track record. You don't know how the drainage is going to behave until you have lived through a couple of heavy rains. You don't know how the slab is going to settle until it has. You don't know what the neighborhood is going to become because it's still being built out around you. A well-maintained existing home, the kind I just taught you to evaluate, has already given you the answers. The drainage has been tested, the slab has finished its initial settling, the land has shown you what it does. The mortar has told you whether the house is stable. The neighborhood is built, the trees are mature. Now, I'm not anti-new construction. There's a place for it. There are a couple new construction builders that I really like. But if you're shopping existing homes, you actually have more information available to you than a new build buyer does. You just need to walk the property with the right set of eyes. So those are the 5 things I check on every existing home: drainage, termites, floor coverings, cracks in the garage floor, and cracks in the mortar. None of these are deal killers by themselves, but all 5 of them together give you a picture of what you're actually buying, not just what it actually looks like on the day you visit. The point of this video isn't to scare you away from existing homes. It's the opposite. A well-built and well-maintained existing home is often a better buy than a new construction, but only if you know how to evaluate it. I'm Kenneth Holland, your local Dallas-Fort Worth residential friendly realtor. If you're looking for a home in the East Dallas-Fort Worth area with more land and less houses around, I can help you with that. Be sure to call me. If you missed my video on the 5 biggest mistakes buyers make when purchasing land, drainage, septic, HOA restrictions, utility costs, and future development, I'll link it right here in the description.